welcome back to UKSG Blue 2024. This event will raise some money for Crisis. You can donate with the links below the stream. We would also like to shout out BSG for their continued support. Now it's time for Vipo with Driver, You're the Wheel Man. Good luck and take it away.
Thank you. As we see, flying police. There we go. Yes, hello. This is Driver, You Are the Wheelman, known as Driver in Europe. Or it is just known as Driver to everybody else. The Japanese version got a interesting title, which was Driver Car Chase Dai Katsu or something. Just real quick before we start, I did actually dress up for the occasion with the leather jacket, so it's similar to what John Tanner wears in the game. Well, in the later series anyway. Not what he wears in this one. So everyone remembers this game specifically because of the fact that they had a infamous car chase,
tutorial.
Tutorial, that's the one. And we're going to show you that there is more to the game than meets the eye. So with me, I've got Howling Mob Mike, who's doing co-coms for this.
Yeah, I'll just say the amusing part about the tutorial is that it is, by and large, infamous in that it is almost as hard, if not harder, than just the rest, everything that precedes it. Most people, as we were talking earlier, get to the tutorial, think, I can't do this, and never play it, don't get any further.
So we'll see how this one goes, but we're going to get into it straight away. So if we're ready on time attack, yep, I'll give you guys a countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so first things first, we're going to get into the game. Now, I'll try and explain the story as best as I can as we go. However, there's going to be a lot of trivia being thrown in there and all the rest of it. First things first, though, we need to get rid of the car park. That's the main thing we need to get rid of. So
this is basically you auditioning for the job as a driver. So you've got to do this like burnout, handbrake, slalom. And you have a bizarrely tight time. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the time you have. It is like insanely tight.
God, it's a very infamous mission. Oh. So if you can get it in one go, and then do that.
If it gave you another 30 seconds, this would be nowhere near as difficult, but that's very good.
Just shot 25 seconds, pretty good. So one of the first things about the speed tech in this game is the fact that the game is supposed to run at 25 FPS on PAL consoles and 30 NTSC and North American. Now, between missions and when the game loads in, obviously you'll see that the refresh thing will keep going. You might get a quick flash on the screen, so apologies about that if it shows up. But essentially, this game really struggled with its frame rate for 1999. So one of the main things that we're going to be doing during a lot of this run is playing in first person. Well, I'll say the first person, it's bumper cam. And this will allow us to not spawn as much on the screen at once. Not only that, so we're going to be on the NTSC version, which is slightly easier than the power release. And also, you may notice that we'll be looking left and right a lot of the time. This is to increase the frame rate and to make the game run faster. So, believe it or not, this runs most of the time going to be blind, for the most part.
I thought panning left and right also helped potentially despawn cars that might get in your way, or am I confusing that with?
That only happens in Grand Theft Auto, more or less. But one of the main things in this is that, like I said, we want to try and make sure that the frame rate stays as good as possible. So you'll notice that if I look in front compared to the side, I get a better frame rate here. And we have to wait for these guys, so wait till about 15 seconds until we can actually pick them up. And if I go in the marker, my felony bar starts to fill up. So the way this game works, there's no checkpoints, so you must finish the missions in one go. The felony bar is a case of the police. The more it fills up, so you might see our chance at having the police here. We need to get to lock up with these guys, and the felony will stack up as it goes throughout the mission. So we'll see how that goes. It also stacks up in missions that have more than one part. So, for example, this is a all-in-one-go mission. The reason why I say a two-part mission is because of the fact that with the bank job, it's just a case of you pick the guys up and you don't have to do anything. Whereas in some missions, you might have to get to point A, then there'll be a cutscene, then there's a point B, then there's a cutscene, then there's a point C. But I'll try and explain, like I said, as much as I can as we go. But from your memory, Mike, So you got past the car park mission.
I've beat this game. I've never speedrun it, but I've certainly beat Driver.
Can you remember much of your experience when you played it?
Honestly, a lot of it was spent in like the replay menu because it's hard. There was nothing quite like this game when it first came out because it took a very, very cinematic approach to the driving. It was based off of a lot of like 70s TV shows with like car chases and things like that, and it just had this absolutely awesome cinematic look. I mean, Viper can't really do it as part of the speedrun, but you have this like cinematic camera mode, and that's quite common now. But back then, it was something very new and very impressive. But I liked the game because, as I said, it was just something that there was nothing else quite like it until Driver came along.
So this is the other thing as well, is that one of the things that we tend to do is we look at walls and things like that as best as we can, because when we're looking at the walls, the frame rate is about as maxed out as it can get. Obviously, we've got fast disk speed on, so obviously the load times are a lot quicker on a console than they are on emulation due to emulator rules. So the first and foremost with this is you have this answering machine. This is how you get your missions. However, in certain cases, you can only pick one mission. But by clicking fast forward or rewind, or just selecting the thumbs up, the way it works is that you're given potentially the idea of 2 or 3 missions. The ones that we're going to do are the fastest ones. So we're already seeing that we've gone from day to night, and we will get other weather effects as well, including rain, and towards the latter end of the game you start to get like snow and things like that. So in this particular one, the way that Miami is structured is you do the interview first, which we've already done, you do the bank job, then we do Tico's ride, then we have the cleanup, I think it is, Tanner meets Rufus. You also have a few other bits and pieces as well. Oh, we got really good there. Just one other thing to mention as well is due to the fact it's on console and the frame rate can sometimes lag and slow down, you may hear that the song skips or it repeats itself a bit too much. Obviously it shouldn't do that, but having the fastest speed on does actually cause the soundtrack to kind of loop a little bit, so apologies for that, especially if you like the original soundtrack. Not to say it'll ruin it too much, but still. So one of the main things that was found out about this game is there are what we'll call blind spots where the AI can't hit you because the AI doesn't spawn. So you can see that where our headlights cross over, they form an X. If that X is on the yellow line there, I can literally sit here and just do this and nothing will hit me. None of the AI will hit me. Now that's great. However, when a police car shows up, which it will in a minute, there you go, he's going to come after me. And that obviously means that he's going to try and charge at me. Now, he would have took me out and everything like that. Now, most missions involve not having a police tail, so we may need to destroy this guy, unfortunately. However, no, he's not going to lose me. Okay, right, we've got to destroy him then. Now, this can happen. Again, this is actually where the main RNG is. Now, luckily, I can just do this. Destroy him, and if I can get this, there we go, and put the car as close to the house as possible. That's actually
crash into the house.
Crash into the house. So there's other things as well. There is a few side plots going on here. So when you start the game, we'll actually try and cover the story in bits and pieces. But the way it works is you're a guy called John Tanner. You're an undercover police officer who works for New York Police Department. And essentially you get told to take down some gangs with a guy called Rufus. He's in the picture somewhere, and there's some kind of hit going down. So you're sent in to investigate. And Tico is one of the guys that you get a tip off of as part of the story. Now, like I said, there is various amount of missions in this game that you don't do. Like I said, I think out of all of the missions in the game, we do about a third of the missions because the other ones are only selectable via the answering machine. So with that being said, we've now dealt with Tico. So you may have heard or may not have heard, I don't know how quiet or loud it was, but basically Tico has gone to a guy to visit a guy with a bad memory, and he put his memory right by, if you didn't hear it, gunshot. So he was killed. And now when I was a kid, all I saw in this game was, oh, it's just driving, you drive from point A to point B, simple as that. But there's a really sinister plot underneath the plot of the game. So Tico has killed someone, and basically what we've now got to do, the cleanup, I think it should kind of be obvious. We're going to get rid of the body. So we're going over to the house. Now, the funny thing is, the house that you stop at in the previous mission that Tico shoots the guy in is not the same house as this one. So this is a first of our 2-part missions. So the first one is to get to the house. The second one is to get the car with the body in the back to a safe location. Now, as I was saying before, there'll be times where at the end of missions you may see that I'll be looking left or right or behind me, because like I said, we want to make sure we despawn as much as possible. It's all about keeping the frame rate as high as possible. So for those that may be infamous with the Driver series, or that didn't know about the Driver series, so Driver came out back in 1999. It was released by Reflections and Infogrames. I think it was also developed alongside GT Interactive as well.
Interactive, yep.
For the PlayStation 1, and it got a PC release, and in 2001 they made a Game Boy Color version. And the Game Boy Color version was pretty decent. It only had half the missions. It was literally just Miami and New York and nothing else. Whereas in the main console and PC release, we actually had 4 cities. Now, back in 1999, at the time, GTA was around. Grand Theft Auto was a thing.
It wasn't a 3D thing yet,
but it wasn't 3D. Exactly correct. And because of this, when Driver released, it actually knocked Grand Theft Auto off its high and mighty perch, and was a case of, Grand Theft Auto was, a good game series. I mean, nowadays it's one of the most popular game series of all time. But back in the late 90s, when that released, they obviously had the top-down perspective Grand Theft Autos, the early ones did. However, Driver was like into the 3D realm and that sort of thing, and as a result, Driver was the game to kind of have a benchmark against, which was really interesting. A year later, we got a sequel, Driver 2, and as a result, it meant that you had 2 games out before the infamous one, which was Grand Theft Auto 3 in 2001. This was then followed by Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Driver couldn't keep up. Grand Theft Auto obviously was then took over, and Driver couldn't come back from that. And as a result, it meant that when Driver did come back, they just basically tried to copy Grand Theft Auto, and it didn't exactly work, and it nearly made Atari go bankrupt. Again. Actually, no, I think it did go bankrupt. There was a scandal called Drivergate. I'm not going to go into it all, but there's a lot of videos online. There's one by Larry Bundy Jr., for those that are aware
Guru
of
Larry,
him. And he covered the whole story, and it is great. So I'll try and make sure I look left and right when I can. Luckily, the frame rate doesn't suffer too bad. However, if you think the frame rate suffers bad in the first game, the second game was on a different level entirely. Essentially, with Driver 1 and 2, the difference was the cities were bigger, the graphics looked better in Driver 2 than the first game. However, because of the amount of stuff they crammed onto the CDs, the frame rate took a nosedive in a big, big way. Like I said, you think the frame rate's bad here. Driver 2's PS1 port was even worse. Like way, way worse. And we actually managed to get lucky with that police car. He didn't realise we were speeding. Now, I was mentioning before about there's a PC release. The reason why I'm doing PS1 and not PC is the PlayStation 1 release had a few notable differences. Most notably, the police spawn rate was a lot slower than the PC version. The damage model, in my opinion, is a lot better on PlayStation because you can just destroy a police car pretty quick by grinding damage out on them. And also in general, it just, surprisingly, the PS1 version looked better than the PC version. Now, this is 1999, remember, so you would have thought that it would have looked decent, but I don't think the PC version does look as good, in my opinion.
They may have had to back at the time when PC hardware was a lot more, like, ownership was a lot more limited, and hardware was, even back in 1999, having a dedicated graphics card on a PC was quite a rare luxury item. So they probably had to in a reversal of normal circumstances, they had to water the PC version down to get it to run well enough.
They probably did. The other thing is as well is it's the first game I ever played where I played the PC version quite a few years down the line. And when you go into the graphics, you can pick what frame rate you want to play at. And it goes like 25, 50, 60, and then just unlimited. So this is bust out Jean-Paul, and what we have to do is ram this car. Now, Driver was infamous for its chase missions. Now, unfortunately, he's got infinite mass. So if I ram him full on, he will destroy me, or he'll make me go flying off the rails. Where's he gonna go? Come on, come on, come on. Go, 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 go. Okay, so I have to try and keep alongside him. I don't know if he's going on. No, he's not. So the way that the chase missions work in this game in particular is that the cars have it's like a catch-up mode. If you get too far, he slows down and you speed up. However, when you're close to him, like so, it makes things very interesting. So once we're done like that, as you can see, the AI's just proved exactly what I mean about having infinite mass. Also, cool guys don't look at explosions apparently. But anyway. So these chase missions are completely RNG, and essentially what we've just done there is we've busted a guy out of, I won't call it prison, it's an armoured car. But in terms of how the story all works and everything, so you remember how I was saying before there was a guy called Rufus, and we met up with Rufus. He's told us, oh yeah, you need to bust this guy out of jail when he's needed for the gang that we're part of. And you don't get told about who's in charge of it or anything like that. So this is the second part of this mission, and as I was saying before, in 2-part, 3-part, 4-part missions, all missions have to be done in one go. Ideally, the less damage you have, in the first part, or the less damage you can do in the first part or two, the easier it becomes. Now, I will say that there is a lot of hurdles in Driver 1. As I already mentioned, there was the infamous interview, but one of the missions that is coming up, it comes up right after this, is called Superfly Drive. And Superfly Drive is simple. The guys have asked you to steal the sports car. You need to drive it all the way across town to the other side of the map. There's only one problem. The car is extremely fragile, and the cops are completely stupid. But the car is really fragile, so you can't just destroy a cop willy-nilly if you so desire. However, not only that, the time limit that you have is also worse as well. Now, I don't know if he's going to come at me here. Alright, dude. There he is. This is the other thing as well. If you don't lose them in time, then that happens. So I need to hopefully get in here.
And all you've got to do is brake the car. The police officers, you know, can't get out, and it's like, oh no, he's pulled into that garage. Oh well.
Now, the thing is as well, you can actually have, on odd occasion, you can have the AI try and chase you down when basically, here's how it can sometimes work. You can sometimes go in that garage and activate a cop. The cop will then, the garage door will shut, but you won't activate the trigger, and the cop will be stuck outside and you'll be stuck in the garage. So you can't destroy it, and it soft locks you in the garage, so you have to restart. So this is the first hurdle of the game. Now, a few things to mention. So there was a PAL release, an NTSC, and a Japanese release. The Japanese release became the easiest version of the game. I think it was released at the same time. The easiest way to show this example off is in the Japanese release of the game, this mission gives you 2 minutes 50. The North American release gives you 2 minutes 45, and PAL gives you 2 minutes 40. The PAL is the tightest on timings, extremely tight on timings, no doubt. So you can see here that the car's extremely quick, and we'll get all the way to the end. Now, I have to be extremely careful with police and make sure that I don't destroy the car or even touch the car, so I have to be careful. The other things as well is traffic patterns. I have to keep an eye on them very, very closely, because cars just love to come out of thin air and just cut across in front of you. So luckily we're not doing too bad. And like I said, we've just got to get to the end of this mission. If I can get past this one, I'll be happy, because then we have one that involves taking a guy down called Diangio, who, obviously, don't forget, we're still a police officer, we're undercover. So we have to give guys over to the police. Turns out a guy called DiMaggio, I think he's called, he's in the picture, and we need to get him arrested. The only way we can do that is take his car down. However, this has to come first. We have to get this mission out of the way. There are other missions in this game, such as in the pickup, which you get in San Francisco. a very difficult mission called the Briefcase, which lasts like nearly 10 minutes. It's a terrible mission. Sometimes it is easier to play tough missions extremely safe. Now, for this one, I've got to make sure that he goes that way. There we go, thank you very much. But I don't know where. Ooh, okay. Now bear in mind, if I touch one of these cars only slightly, what will happen is the damage bar will go up massively. So we might end up having to restart this mission if we get a cop near the end, so I'm really hoping that police RNG is kind to me, and I would really like to finish this first try. So here's hoping. There is a lot of missions like this where you want to try and finish them first try. Okay, so what I can actually do here is I can do this. I can drive away and he'll despawn. Come on, despawn, there we go. Right, okay. Don't know if that actually helps, but notice my time limit. I've only got 30 seconds. So what's the next cop going to show up? Is he going to be... Okay. Okay, he's seen me, and I lose him in time. Lose me. Please lose me. Yes!
I was going to say, I think you had the legs on him there.
Okay, so that's like the first major hurdle over the... I'm actually quite happy about it. That is a relief. Really is a relief. Okay, that is a tough mission. Like I said, passing that first try is key. So the next one is to take out a guy called D'Angio. This is a chase mission. Whilst that's going on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to our host, if we've got any donations or anything like that.
We do indeed. We have $50 from Rusix saying Viper is the wheelman. Watching anyone zoom through this game is insane. Good luck on the run. We have $13 from Auric saying, here's my match for Sonic Dream Team crashes and overestimate. And $13 from Polster saying, if Auric says to match I don't know, I match I don't know. Why? Because money. And all three of them go towards the Easter egg race showcase happening later for GTA. We are just shy of $600 for that. It will be happening in 5 hours, so if you want to see that, folks, get your donations in. If we do match that as well, we will beat several previous UKSG donations as well. We will beat Winter 22, Summer 20, and we will be possibly just shy of being Spring 21. So get your donations in and make sure you click the incentives for that to be accepted.
No worries, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you everyone who for those donations, and please do keep them coming in. We are raising money for an amazing cause here, so thank you to everyone who has donated, but you know, we've still got plenty of UKSG left, so keep them coming in.
So one of the key things here, so this is the Informant. This is the last mission in Miami. Now it's worth mentioning that this is the first time that you'll see rain physics, so you'll notice that the cars will start to slide more. Another thing is on this mission and on a few missions, the police will not stop spawning. They will infinite spawn the whole mission. And if you happen to lose the police, then the game will just keep respawning them like rapid fire until I don't know, until like a certain point. In missions, we also have something called safe zones. So after a certain point in this level, that's the main bit done, dusted. But once you get to like near the end, there'll be a safe zone where the police will lose you. So you can see here now that the AI is going to come towards me. Now, whilst they're doing that, the tram's going to go down there, so we're just going to slowly drive along here, like this. And I want to stay within touching distance of the tram. So we don't actually need to drive too far, so there's the tram.
Oh, and for anyone curious, by the way, you can't hit pedestrians in this. They always get out of your way.
They're always in a protective force field as if they're being protected by God. I think is the way I heard it off one person. So with that being said, that is the Informant done. And there we go. And that is the end of Miami. Now it's worth mentioning at this point in the story. So Rufus asked you to break that guy out. You did the supercar thing. You took D'Angio down. And during this, there was a girl with Rufus when you met him. Now, again, this is all in the cutscenes, but I've skipped over all them. And pretty much, here's what's happened. The girl is called Jessie, and she shoots Rufus in cold blood. And the reason why we chase her is because Tanner finds out what she's done. And the idea is that you end up taking her down. You have to chase her. And basically that's what we've done. So then we basically get her in for an investigation, and she turns around and says the guy's in San Francisco. So we're now in San Francisco, home of lovely hills and other good things. My personal favourite city in the entire game. I spent God knows how many hours in this city. I have a massive affection towards San Francisco, thanks to this game. And not only that, but we also had the dilemma where I think it was in 2011. I say the dilemma, but in 2011...
All the tram caught you there,
that
I think.
was just about... in 2011, we got a new, the last main driver game in the series, which was called Driver San Francisco. So I was pretty glad that they were able to, you know, they're able to bring back the old cities and things like that. So that's pretty nice. Also, I ideally should have got like sat right next to the wall because that's the fastest way to do this. So a couple of things to mention. You can see the frame rate took an absolute nosedive there. Is that there is a red tram that passes alongside the bottom here, and what we want to do, if you're fast enough, you can usually get in front of that tram. But I'm like, I'm not playing with the tram and everything. So yeah, like I said, the other thing as well. This is another no-kill zone. The tram tracks, apart from us, the police will come on it if they're coming at us, but if they're going with us, they'll try and steer into us. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So the police will try and steer into us, but now there is literally no trams whatsoever, so I can literally sit like this. You would think, oh my god, you have to, I remember having to dodge through traffic and so on. It's like, yeah, this is just a Sunday drive.
That was one of the fun parts of the game, though, when it first came out. Though. It was the ability to duck and dive between. As Bob said, this was like one of the first fully 3D open world kind of driving game. Not in this kind of level of visual quality, even as crude as it somewhat looks today. But it, as I said, I still have to keep going back to just the cinematic mode in it. It was just so awesome just to watch this game at the time, just to see all these like car chases and things. And as I said, it looks rough now, but I promise you, back in '99, this was like bleeding edge in gaming.
It's like. Back then, it was a case of, wow, look at the graphics, they're so good.
But as you're alluding to what you said earlier as well, yeah, this kind of really gave like the GTA series a bit of a kick, an unexpected kick in the backside, because as you're aware, it was top-down, zoom in, zoom out to handle frame rates, and then all of a sudden this came along, and it just took things to an unexpected level, and they started out as innovators. Unfortunately, the Driver series kind of just...
It kind of fizzled out.
It did.
It was a shame, really, because so at the moment, Ubisoft owns the rights to the Driver series, the Driver IP. And as far as the series is concerned, they had Driver 1 in 99, Driver 2 in 2000, Driver 3 in 2004. In 2006, we got Driver Parallel Lines. 2007 was Driver 76. And then the last main game in the series was Driver San Francisco in 2010/2011. I think it was 2011 actually when it came out. And we've not had a new Driver game since then, so it's been 13 long years. And the Driver community is a really interesting community because they have done a lot of work, more than Ubisoft has done in the last 13 years, for damn sure. Not just because of the fact of like, oh, Ubisoft owns the IP, but a couple of years ago, a bunch of guys had a project that they were working on. Lo and behold, not a lot of people were in on it. There was only a few people in on it. And the project was to do with the Driver franchise, but it was private. No one got told about it. No one knew what it was. And after a couple of years, this Driver project was... There we go. This Driver project ended up being, it was very secret, and it released as called the Driver Syndicate. Now, the guy who did the soundtrack, the soundtrack you can hear on screen for Driver 1 and Driver 2, is a guy called Alistair Brimble. Now, the Driver community got in contact with Alistair, and they basically spoke to him and said, hey, the Driver communities, there's no like new Driver games or anything, but you did a really good job of the original 2 Driver games, and he's done other soundtracks as well. Feel free to check his music out, like his soundtracks he's done for other games too. And they actually got him to create a brand new theme song using his instruments. He's even gone back and done like a remix of using, he found the song files for Driver 1 and 2, and he's gone back and remastered the original 2 soundtracks. In my opinion, they do sound really good. There are some soundtracks that sound better in the original soundtrack than they do in the remake, but credit to him for actually like finding the original music files for it. But I think it's amazing that the series hasn't had a new game, so the community created its own, albeit that's probably a lawsuit with Ubisoft waiting to happen. However, it is basically an entirely mod world for the whole game. The game's free, it's in like open access sort of thing. The guy that created it, or one of the main guys involved, is a guy called Soapy, who's in the Drive community. Honestly, would recommend dropping him a donation or anything like that for his work that he's done. If you're interested in the Drive community, he's one of the main guys when it comes to programming. Also, that guy decided to try and take me down, but anyhow. But there's a lot of other content creators as well. So mentions goes to Mine and Drive, Vortex Story especially, Snoopy. Christ, there's quite a few more. Honestly, I do apologise that I'm forgetting like some of the big names. But like I think Commando 52 Colton, the Survivor, another driver speedrunner, who I was lucky enough to meet in person last year. He gave me a tin of Canadian maple syrup, which was quite nice of him, which I've still got and I've not opened yet, so sorry Survivor if you're watching. Yeah, the Drive community is basically looking after itself, and because of the fact that when Driver 2 released in 2000, unlike the PS1, unlike the first game on PS1, which got a PC release, Driver 2 didn't, and really could have done with one. Anyway, fast forward to 2020, and Driver 2, or Red River 2, whatever you want to call it, was a thing. As such, basically the game was now playable properly, instant load times and everything like that. Also, yeah, this is a taxi mission, which is quite fun, because it takes about 10 seconds, and we have to freak this guy out, like that, and you just hear him screaming. So that mission was basically an informant. We had to scare the crap out of him, and luckily it's a fast mission to do. So that's the reason why we did that. The next missions are all mandatory. So we've got Cozy to the Chopper. We pack a guy out called Cozy and get to the Chopper. And then we've got the Mercy mission, which is a 3-part mission, and there's some trivia. But yeah, the Drive community has looked after itself over the last few years, and essentially they're doing the work that Ubisoft should have been doing, to put it bluntly. You know, they literally did turn the idea of, you're not going to make a new game? Sod it, we'll make our own. So they did. And props to them. They you know, the fact that the community has come together, they've created a unofficial PC port, which works, which doesn't have many issues with it, and it saves so much time. Personally speaking, I've actually said to the guys who helped do the reverse engineer for it, if they could give the PS1 version of Driver 1 the same treatment, and have that replace the PC port. Yeah. I would be very happy about that, to be honest. Yeah, just a few other bits and pieces real quick. So, in this game, obviously, the main undercover is what the any % mode is, essentially. However, you have... Oh God, I might have flipped over. Yes, I have. And there's no coming back from that. Oh, sideways, why not?
Let's get out of push.
It's fine. I knew that run was going too well. Aside from that, it's fine. This is what the estimate accounts for if something goes wrong. I don't even know where that was at. That could have been PV based, but anyhow.
Yeah, just for anyone unaware as well, if you flip or get the car on its side, all that will happen is that the damage bar will just slowly fill up, and once that's maxed out,
it doesn't even fill up. It literally just goes boom, instantly, fully damaged.
It fills up instantly. That was a test just to see if you knew as much about the game as I do. And you passed. Congratulations.
So there is, there's a few other things as well. So there is an any % for PC and any % for PlayStation because of the differences in obviously load times and some of the missions as well. There is an unofficial category for the PS1 version, which I've done a run of, which was called All Missions, which was about 2 hours 50. I didn't think it'd take me so long. But there we go, that's better. That took me a fair bit of time to do, and that was basically doing every mission, but you had to reload a save slot that you'd already pre-made so that you could do the other missions, so that you could do the, yeah. It's a bit tricky on how to explain that category, but long story short, you do every single mission in the game. Basically, you wouldn't do in the any percent. You do the any percent stuff as well, but you do all the rest of it. And there is like 2 endings for this game and things like that, but we'll get to that in due course. There are a few other different game modes as well. So obviously you've got the main undercover mode, but you also have a load of driving games, which are quite fun. The basic in design. So you have Quick Getaway, where you get put straight into a cop chase, and you've got to get rid of the AI. You've got to lose the police as fast as possible. There is a quick chase one, which involves destroying an enemy car as fast as possible. A checkpoint, which is, I think it's just known as crosstown checkpoint. You've got to reach 5 or 6 or 7 checkpoints or whatever it is, and do it in as fast as order as you can, fastest order possible. And then you have a dirt track, which is essentially just doing laps in a dirt track away from the cities and things like that. Again, very basic in what it actually is. That was not great, but never mind. The guy should have been looking where he's going. It's never my fault.
Maniac.
He's the maniac. I'm not. It's not nothing to do with me driving at 100 miles an hour and another AI getting in the way as well. He was lucky.
It's like Lotus all over again.
Yeah, the car's getting in the way, yeah. At least you can smash them out of the way and they go flying, though.
True.
That's the thing. But then another one, and the biggest one that everybody will probably know or recognise, is survival mode. So for those that don't know, the AI is at a certain level, we shall say. Yeah, it's at a certain level, and so I'm going to wait because Cozy's got to walk through his chopper. The chopper physics is mental in this, it's quite funny. Also the frame rate's slowing down. So he just warps into it. There you go. So this is the thing. There you go.
What is that rotor doing?
Yeah, there you go. And eventually it just disappears.
I never knew helicopter blades worked like that, but there you go.
Apparently they do. But yeah, so that goes to the chopper. But yeah, so there's survival, and survival is essentially the cops are turned up to 150%, and they come at you at light speed. In Driver 2, they are even worse. Driver 1 was, I think, like the one game that the AI could be turned up to 11. And here's the other thing too. In all the missions in Drive 1, if you play on easy difficulty, what's supposed to happen is the AI will have, on easy difficulty, they will have a very lean tolerance. Medium, they'll be a lot harder. Hard, they'll be extremely difficult, and they'll be more durable as well. However, in the final mission of the game, it doesn't matter what difficulty you pick. The final mission is always difficult, which is called the President's Run, which we'll get to in due course. But not only will we get to that in due course, but we will also be talking about the AI and things like that. Now, whilst we're on the topic of AI and things like that, I could probably come in with a bit of trivia for this particular mission. So, in this mission on PS1, there is 3 parts. On the PC version, there is 4, and there is an unused 4th part on the PS1 version that is in the PC version. Essentially, Part 4 in PC is not here in PlayStation. However, if you go into the game's files, I think somebody looked into it. Wake up. And if you go into the game's files in the coding, you can activate the code for the 4th part of the mission. But there's no like cutscenes or anything like that. In the PC, you get that. But you'll realise, so what will happen is on the 3rd part, you're stopped outside of a phone booth, a telephone booth. But you'll notice that when he shows up in the cutscene, he's outside the park. The park is halfway across town. They've cut that out, so they cut the cutscene out for the end of the 3rd part and just shoved the 4th part in. Essentially, the PC version got the short straw and was a longer mission.
PC version getting a short straw. I do not believe that has ever happened before or since in the world of gaming.
Yeah, it's just a case of the mission was slightly shorter. I think it's about 2 minutes faster on PS1 compared to PC. Obviously, PC wins because of load times and stuff like that. So just to kind of compare PS1 versus PC, PS1 emulator record by me is a 109.11. console is in the 113s, although I have been on for 111 pace till I got screwed, but let's not talk about that. But it's 113 something, I forget what it is for the console record. And that was passing every mission first try, and everything went sort of okay. The PC version is literally, like, I think 1 hour 51 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, I think the PC world record, I think it is, as you say, it's like 1 minute and 50 something.
Yeah, but then like the segmented world record is less than an hour.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to find, I think Ewell, is the guy who has the record on PC. He was trying so hard. He had so many attempts that were sub 1 pace. And he just came up short because, unlike most games, driver just isn't fair, full stop. It doesn't care how good you're doing, it doesn't care what pace you're on. If this game has a chance to mess you up, it will. And the police AI, the whole game has one set of RNG going through, which is the police chases. That is the main thing about driver. The police are your RNG. If they spawn at the end of a mission, you've got to lose the time and everything like that. So one of the main things, oh wow,
Ooh.
that police car didn't know where he was going, neither do I at this point. But one of the main things about it was that, well, let's just say this, the PS1 version has some funny tricks up its sleeve that the PC can't do, which in my opinion makes the PS1 version better. And as I was saying earlier, the police spawn rate is a lot easier, and I was saying to Mike earlier on, I played through the PC version a while ago, and it took me 5 hours to finish the game, and that was me going as quick as I could. I didn't have a timer or anything like that. It just took forever, because on a lot of these missions, so that's the end of the Mercy mission, you actually have the point where the police you'll need to lose the police. On PS1, it's as simple as just turning around and destroying the cop. Whereas on PC, as soon as you get close to destroying a cop car, another one immediately spawns. So you ideally want to have a cop where it's like on its last legs, and everything like that. So for the end of San Francisco, we've got 2 missions to go. So this is the last one that we're choosing in San Francisco. So we have 2 here. We have the setup, which is what we're doing, or we have Hyde Street pickup. Both missions are relatively short. The setup's a bit of an easier one, and also has one of my favourite pieces of soundtrack, which is the police theme when we get a cop chase, which we will do. If we don't, I'll be impressed. I think on a few occasions I've not had a single cop there and back. Very rarely has that happened, but it can happen. The RNG gods can sometimes smile on you. Surprise, surprise. So, but how do you make of it so far, Mike?
You know what, I was just thinking then that we've gone, 40 minutes now, and we haven't even mentioned Stuntman, yet. And
We have not. We can talk about Stuntman.
I like Stuntman as much as it was more of a technical demo than an outright game, a bit like Rockstar Table Tennis. It was more of like an experimentation of what was to come. But yeah, I think a lot more people, or at least as many, found Stuntman as they did Driver, and they were both equally fun, challenging games as well at times. Crikey, Stuntman had some pretty rough missions.
It did. The fun thing as well, so the engine that Stuntman runs off, I don't know if you knew, but that was the alpha engine for Driver 3.
Yes.
So that was essentially testing the waters with, like, what can we get away with in terms of, like, damage and handling, and Stuntman was made, like you said, as a bit of a tech demo more than a game. But that's also another masterpiece. It's hard as nails. I'd say a lot harder than this.
It's very unforgiving.
Yes.
Very, very unforgiving. But that's kind of the point. The point of Stuntman was that I was talking earlier about the cinematics in game. The point of Stuntman was that you would do the mission, like dodge the car, hit the barrels, go over the jumping one, and then you could watch it in the replay and you'd see yourself driving this cool, like, film epic.
Yeah, it'd be like all the
Toothless
film
and
cameras.
Whopping and all the amusing film titles they had in it, and it just looked cool. But it was just somewhat amusing that the alpha build for Driver 3, if we can call that Stuntman, was way more better and entertaining than the final finished product of Driver 3.
But I mean, if I'm being honest, I was thinking about this the other day, is that how would you make Driver 3 better? I think the answer is you just wouldn't make Driver 3.
Erase it from history.
Make it from the ground up, start all over again, and then be like, yeah, there's a story in here somewhere.
It was the problem, I think, as I said, that this was innovative when it came out, and by the time Driver 3 came along, they'd ran out of original ideas, and it was like, well, you know, GTA's already done this. GTA's, what can we do to make it different? And they just did not have. They just couldn't really put together a way to make it better than. I think that's what they concentrated too hard on. It was, we need to make this better than Grand Theft Auto, rather than just making a good game.
Let's just copy Grand Theft Auto. That works. We'll just copy it.
But shall we pass over to Linky, see if she's got anything to say?
Sure.
Yes, we would just like to thank NSG for supporting this event. Norway's resident speedrun event have run 2 events this year and Ask Yerdrum, I believe it's pronounced. I forget.
Ask, yeah, something like that.
Was Nordic when we need them. Yerdrum, thank you. The next event is NSG Spring 2024 that is happening in April the 11th to 13th and is going to be streamed on twitch.tv/NSG Marathon.
Yeah, definitely check out NSG. They've been absolutely, you know, we have an association with them that we're getting on very well with them, aren't we?
We are indeed. So with that being said, that's San Francisco done and dusted. Now you're wondering, the estimate is an hour and a half, and we're 45 minutes in. We've done 2 cities. So you think, oh, okay, the other 45 minutes is going to come from the other 2 cities. No, it's not. So Los Angeles actually only has us doing 4 missions. Now this is where the time save came in. So a couple of years ago, one of the runners, Iceman, found something very interesting. Now, if I get it first try, this will be great. If I don't, it's fine. It doesn't take that long to get there. So essentially what you've got to do in this particular mission is you need to get this cop car, the first time in, I think, 2 missions that we're driving a cop car. So we can actually drive it, siren and everything. And what we're going to do is we have to drive it down the other end of the map. So you can see here, the map, we've got to be on the right-hand side where that red dot's going. That's where we've got to go. However, if I go down here... Now
I think I know what's coming.
You might do, but anyway, if you've never seen this before, you might want to keep an eye on what's going to happen next. So, the programming didn't stretch too well to the corner of the map. So, as a result, something very interesting happens. So if I can get it, there we go. This happens. So we sink the car into the water, and that counts as a mission pass.
Yeah.
So we can glitch our way through the mission, basically.
They really didn't. It's complicated how that works, but they didn't really ever expect you to drive into the water in this game, did you? And it all come.
But it was like, oh, it takes forever, because up until this point, the run was taking like an hour 25, an hour 30. And then that was found, it was like, right, this is going to save us a lot of time, like a hell of a lot. The chase missions are one of the other parts of RNG. Also, I'm pretty sure I just saw a car disappear. So this is Duval, and he is a bit of a pain, so I'm going to have to try and keep up with him and destroy him. He will not back off. Now, luckily, if I can get him in it. Come on, go. Stop.
Leaning towards me doesn't make the car.
Sorry.
You're like my wife playing Mario Kart. She's like she doesn't even use the Wii controls,
she's
but
like,
she's still.
So that's Duval stopped. Now, I will just say, this next mission is a 6-minute behemoth. It is a long-ass mission. It has essentially 2 to 3 parts in this. The first part is we have to go and pick up a bunch of hitmen. The second one is we've got to take them to a Chinese restaurant to perform assassination. And the third bit involves getting to a safe house. Now, the first 2 parts of that are in one go, and then we have a break, a cutscene, and then we have the last bit where we have to get them to the safe house. So, Linky, this is probably a really good time for donations, charity reading, anything, really. You've got about 5 minutes
5 minutes, yeah.
5?
You could talk very slowly, that might help.
Well, we'd just like to remind everyone that we are currently on our last incentive for the Easter Egg Race Showcase for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas with Josh Lato, which involves Lego Island and Crash Team Racing in a GTA San Andreas game. Absolutely. If we raise a total of $750, Josh will show some of the races from 2 of these games after his run if we meet this incentive. We are currently at $166, so if you would like to see that, please get your donations in. If we do meet that, we will also beat our previous records for, we just get it up, Winter 22, Summer 20, and Spring 21 early if we do go a little bit over. So if we reach that, we will hit about, I think, 4 things at the same time. So if you're a fan of numbers go up and achievements or incentives being met, I would definitely donate. We would also like to announce, well, not announce, it's been announced, but speaking of NSG, there is a brand new event approaching called the Marathon Alliance. It is a novel collaboration bringing different European speedrun organisations together, officially starting with the inaugural event in November 7th. They will show you what the European speedrunning family has to offer to the comfort of your own home. If you want to be a part of it, you can submit your speedrun submissions until October 18th. You can follow them over on Twitter at MA_speedrun for more information on that, and also follow them over on Twitch at Marathon Alliance so you don't have to miss the start of this new adventure. And as I said, that does involve NSG. It does also involve a couple of other marathons like GSPS and everyone, so it's going to be in several languages, and there will be an English restream as well. So if you're interested in seeing what the European speedrunning scene has going on, I would definitely check that out. I believe it is going on for 4 days, so plenty of speedrunning to be watched over there.
Indeed, very much
yeah,
so.
I'm very interested in checking that Marathon Alliance out. I heard about it mentioned yesterday, and it's definitely pinging like that policeman on my radar. So yes, please do check that out.
The funny thing is, so I've just put the guys up from the. We just put the hitmen up from the car park there. But the funny thing is, you didn't quite see it because I think it just gone through behind us before the camera changed. But sometimes, or in most cases, there's always a car behind us. It doesn't matter what car it is, but for some reason the AI in that particular part of the map. Again, another failed part, which wasn't the corner of the map, but was also the car park, was the fact that the AI can go through the wall. So their programming just means goes straight on. They don't turn, they don't slow down, turn, they go straight on. And they disabled the, that was close. They disabled the collision detection, I think, for AI. So AI go towards the wall and they go through and they drop to the bottom of the car park. Oops. Oh, that was very nice. Thank you very much, cop. I've got no headlights. Where am I supposed to go? It's fine, I can still see. Also, yeah, car's just popping out of nowhere, and someone's getting destroyed back there. This is what I mean about safe zones. So at some point, the AI will get told to be called off, because the game's code tells them to. So you'd be wondering why we're doing that. We're not doing it for style points, I promise. We're doing that because when we start the next part, we want to be going back the other way, and rather than starting the car the wrong way around and having to turn around, if we turn around and then hit that trigger, the trigger will activate the car in that certain spot. So now all I have to do is start going straight, and I'll be going the right direction. So I'm already going this direction, which is the way I want to be going.
It's
so
the cops, get out of there.
It's pre-set up. It's the cops, get out of there. So during that cutscene, by the way, so the hitman went to the Chinese restaurant. Oh, that was genius. Well done, cop. Well, they knew what they were doing with that. We might have a bit of a trouble with this one. We'll find out. I've got plenty of damage that I can spare. Okay, where's he going? He's over there. That's fine. Ooh. Okay, so the way that what's just happened during the cutscene that we skipped was the guys that the hitmen went to assassinate someone. Now, the person they went to assassinate was someone on our police force, and we tipped our guy off and said, just so you know, there's a bunch of guys that are going to try and kill you. Make sure you dodge when they're about. Like, get the hell out of there, duck and weave, or I'll try and nudge them or do something. So what happens in the cutscene is the guy shoots, tries to assassinate the guy, but misses because of, oh, that was a bit odd, I missed. So as a result, the gunshot went off, it alerted the police, and now that's why we've got to do this. So we've saved one of our pals' lives from being assassinated at this point. Now, one of the things is that the frame rate runs clear as day when I look down there, but when I'm everywhere else, it's like, yeah, the frame rate's pretty awful. Now, as your felony builds up, this starts to happen. You start to get police roadblocks, and after a certain point as well, if you get the felony goes up and up and up, what will happen is you'll have the felony goes up, but what will happen is the police will put their cars closer together, which makes it harder to get through the police roadblocks without getting damaged.
That looks like a Mark 1 Golf there.
From the
Sorry,
front.
from the front, yes.
Yeah. Not quite from the back, though. It's like a sedan thing. The best thing is, at the end of that scene, the guy goes, they knew we were coming. Now, normally what we do in Los Angeles is we used to do a mission called the Test Run. And Test Run was like a 3.5 minute... It was a 3.5 minute mission. But what ends up happening is we do one called Beverly Hills Getaway now. Beverly Hills Getaway is a lot shorter because we can abuse the sinking car glitch again. And in a different kind of way this time. I also get to show off two different things. I get to show off the out of bounds thing again. However, thanks to going on YouTube and having a look at ways of getting out of bounds, I think one of the guys in the Discord shared it. He shared a video of points in the map where you can literally just drive through the walls.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea, but at specific spots you can literally just drive and it will go out of bounds. So there's a few in San Francisco. There's like 1 or 2 in San Francisco, but they're not useful for any of the missions. I wish they were, but they're not. But then in New York, there's barely any. Obviously, Los Angeles has some. And Miami doesn't have any. However, I do remember one specific part where you could go into the ocean if you hit the corner at a certain angle. Now, normally when you go to pick people up, you have until 15 seconds. But for some reason on this one, it's only 10. So I need to...
I like how it says too early, come back later. And it's like, it's 5 seconds, come on.
There we go. And you want to hit it like bang on near 10 or close to it. So you notice how the cot's been called off. So as soon as these guys get in, if it stops lagging, they're immediately chasing us again. And they've lost us just like that. So we've got to get to a lockup. However, if you do this mission legit, spoiler alert, it's a trap. So when you go there, the police show up and it's like, get us to our safe house. So we don't do that. So what we found was, as I said, there was the out of bounds that you can do where you sink the car in the water. We're still going to do that. But what we're going to do instead is I'm going to show you something else which makes this a lot easier, makes it more safer, because sometimes you go through, go into the water and the car won't sink. So instead, what we're going to do, and I've had police chase me through here and everything, it's quite funny. Okay, so basically there's this big building here on the right, and
whoop,
there's nothing there. So this is what's outside of the map, and now I can just drive. But you notice how the frame rate's a lot better here, because it's not spawning.
It's fantastic. I mean, in fairness, all it's done is that static image of the horizon.
So then we just drive again to here, like this, and sink the car just on the edge.
Blub blub.
Yep, eventually we want the frame rate to do its thing. There we go. And the frame rate should be instant, there we go. Right, okay, so this is where the story is now going to change, depending on which one you do. So there is 2 routes for New York that you can do with missions. The way we're going to pick this is we're going to just have I'll call it the bad ending or the Tanner ending. So this mission we're doing, so the route for New York is Grand Central Station Switch, which we're going to do now, the accident, Trash Granger's car, the negatives, rite of passage, and the President's Run. If you go the other way and you do the other mission on the answering machine, you do Luther's Heap of Junk and the Rescue, which is a 6.5 minute behemoth, and it is hard. Even on the easy difficulty, it is difficult. And you do Trash Granger's car, the negatives, you still do them missions because they're mandatory. Well, Trash Granger's car isn't, it's optional. And then what will happen is you'll then do the alley situations. You'll save a girl called Allie if you take that route. And then lastly, you'll do the President's Run. And that will always be the finale mission. And in the ending for the game, it will change because you saved Ali instead of, well, her not existing. So one of the key things I just want to mention real quick is how much I hate yellow cabs in New York. Now, apparently this is quite realistic because they get in the way anyway in real life, and they can't drive for toffee according to what I've heard. But these guys really do get in the way. Like, they have their indicators on, but just because they've got an indicator on doesn't mean that's the direction they're going. This is unfortunate that I've got a cop here, but because I have to lose him before I get to this point here. So I'm just going to wait right near the point here. As you can see, it says lose the tail, so I'm just going to wait. There we go. Okay.
I was going to say, you're just going to damage them out of it again.
Yep. And luckily, there we go. So that's the first point. So we need to get to, we need to meet our contact here. Then we need to, pick up a briefcase of some kind. Then we need to get to Grand Central, and then we need to make the exchange. So we need to get back to that briefcase. So we're being like the middleman, so to speak, for this one. So that will be interesting. And we've got a part 2 here. Now, bear in mind, this is again, as I was saying before, it's a 6-minute behemoth of a mission. You've got 3 parts. Your damage stacks up. So the less damage you are able to do, or less damage you do to the card, the better chance you'll have of beating this mission from start to finish.
I think when I played this, I actually lost this mission more than a few times because of the aggregated damage that you take throughout it. It is definitely...
Taxes as well. As a case in point, there you go. They stop, but then instantly pull out again. So it is all about reading traffic patterns as well. You see what I mean? They just pull out. They don't. As soon as you see one, you're like, do I put brakes on or do I not? I'm going to try and avoid crashing into taxis.
It's New York. They're just happy they can go anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Very true. So this was the soundtrack I was on about before, the one that I really enjoy. So the third part of this mission involves you get tailed off a bunch of black cars by someone unbeknownst to us. But also one of the things as well, just to kind of move the story along, we've skipped the story for a fair bit. But essentially, one of the guys that you were doing missions for, he tells you that he works for a guy called Castaldi, and Castaldi's got a big job, and he's like, I want you in New York. I need you there. We need a driver that can do that can get us places. So he hires you, and you get taken on board as part of his gang. And as a result, obviously, with you being an undercover police officer, you then need to make sure that you're able to take some guys down to make sure that they don't get away with anything. And obviously you want to make sure, basically you're taking them down from the inside out. So whilst we're doing this, like I said, this is it's a bit of a hard part of this mission, to be honest, because what's going to happen in a minute, as you'll see in a second.
Ooh, you got sideswiped.
There we go. Turn myself around.
And now you just turned it into a pirouette. Lovely.
Yes. Luckily it's slippy. So now we'll get told that we're being tailed. So then these black cars will start chasing us. And just like the police in that one mission, these guys are going to keep respawning all the way to the end of the mission. After a bit, they get told to back off. But again, this is RNG with if they lose you and then respawn, lose you, respawn, lose you, respawn. So we'll see how this goes. And back in taxis. I'm going to say this now. This is the antagonizing part of this particular mission. Okay, he didn't hit me. That's good. Sometimes I can use I can sometimes use the taxis against them. However, they are going to come to me in a minute. I'm expecting 2 cars to start coming at me in a minute. Nope. I've got one. I'm going to get another. Where's the other guy? Okay. That's never happened before, but that's not a bad thing. That is actually insanely good RNG, I'll be fairly honest. That's never happened, but that's never happened in a good way. Like, wow, that was really impressive. Thank you, game. Thanks for being so
Don't complain
nice.
when RNG just throws you a bone.
No, I'm not doing. I'm not complaining. That's because so New York has the 6 missions that we're doing are all just equally as bad as one another. So Trash Granger's car, I think, is probably the easiest. So we've got the accident, which is coming up. So basically, we got told that one of the guys in the gang is out to do something terrible, and as a result, we've got to make it look like an accident. So you remember that cop car we stole earlier? Yeah, we're now going to use it to destroy somebody. I forget who the person is exactly, but we now actually get to be the cop chasing the criminal. Ooh, okay, where's he going? He's there. Okay, where's he going? Is he going that way? No, he's not. Is he going right? Is he going left? Yeah, he's got infinite mass, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. So I've now got to try and take him down as best as I can. Let's have it a bit more. Oh god. Oh,
he's taking himself out.
Oh damn! It. Nearly got him.
Close.
Come on. God, no. Ooh. God, one more nudge. Come on. Also, yeah, I'm doing I think I'm doing a good enough job as a cop here. I'm taking him down. There you go. There we go. Also, I can't turn the siren off now.
Was that the accident, by the way?
That was supposed to be the accident.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Didn't look very accidental, but
just full on sideswipe. Boom.
I accidentally hit his car a dozen times.
It's like, stop. I shouted at him. I helped him gently to the floor. Right, so I just need to listen out for this. Ranger's wheels, yeah, that's it. Okay, so what we've got to do here, this is about a 2-minute mission, give or take. What we've got to do is trash Granger's wheels. So that is the last time we're going to choose the mission in this game. As a result, what we've now got to do is we've now got 2 missions to go, well, 3 missions to go. So we've got trash Granger's wheels first, then we've got the negatives, which is a horrible mission. No pun intended with the fact that I'm being negative about that mission. And then we have rite of passage, which is 3.5, well, in real time it's about 4.5 minutes because of the frame rate and everything, but it's about 3.5 minutes to do it. And then we have the President's Run, and that's kind of it. Also, I'm surprised I made it through that gap, to be honest. Nice and easy. And I'll be honest as well, I only derusted this like last week. Also earlier this week, and I did about 2 runs and was like, yep, I'm good enough, it's underestimate, I'll take it. So the fact that this run's going really far underestimate is a lot better. So Granger's car has got a problem with it. It's protected by law enforcement. So what we've now got to do is I need to wreck him. So you have this like 2-second window with police where for some reason after a second or 2 of wrecking his car, the police will not chase you straight away, which I think is quite funny. And all of a sudden they do chase you, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this seems fine. This is fine. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But like I said, for me, this is the easier mission in New York, to be honest. Once we get past the negatives, then I'll start to relax a bit more, and then we have rite of passage, and then we have the President's Run.
Look at this music. This is a jam.
It is. It is pretty good. So I don't know whether the cops will show at the end. They might. Oh, they did, but they didn't. They showed too far up the road, so I was able to beat the mission faster. Yeah.
Move along, officer. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, it's like, go on, shoot, shoot, go. Okay, so the next one's called the negatives. Now this one is a difficult chase mission. In my opinion, it is one of the hardest chase missions in the entire game. Because of the fact that there is a few ways of wrecking cars in this game, as we know, and I don't know what route's going to go, so we'll see how this goes. So we've got to get him, and he's going that way, and I can maybe get on his right side, so he's going to go, no, he's going to go left, actually. No, he's going to go the wrong way, okay. Okay, so now you're going to go left, because there's no other way you can turn. Oh, okay.
Close.
Come on. Stop. Come on, please. Game opposed. Let's go. This will work. If he makes a left turn, he's stuffed. Just saying. Come on. No!
No, you can
taxi. Go on. Yeah.
Go on, get him.
Go.
There.
One more. There we go. We got it.
Go.
Okay. Hardest mission. There we go. Nice. Okay. Phew. Right. So now we've done the negatives, we've got rite of passage. Rite of passage is about 4 and a bit minute behemoth, and then finally we have the President's Run, and then the run is finished. And
So throw over to Linky to see if
yes, definitely.
getting towards the end. Linky, you got anything you'd like to?
3.5, 4 minutes.
We have a $20 donation from the Wolves with no comment, but that's going towards the East Egg Race Showcase later on with Josh's San Andreas run. So we are currently, if I just give that a refresh, at $186 out of $750. So we are slowly getting our way towards this incentive, folks. It is the last incentive of the marathon. So if you want a little bit extra of UKSG, please donate towards it. Make sure you do put your donations towards the incentive, or else it will not count.
Awesome, thank you for that donation, Wolves. And for those of you watching yesterday, you've seen his incredible Indiana Jones run. That was very, very entertaining. So yes, thank you for the run, and please do make sure that your donation is set to the incentive. We would love to get that met before we finish up here, but don't worry, still plenty of UKSG to come.
Sorry, just jumping again. I believe that's another. Is that another 20 as well, or is that a glitch? We're double checking.
Okay.
We are checking.
VAR is looking at it.
It was just the one. The system's being weird.
Oh.
New system.
I was going to say, you're starting to sound like the Ferrari strategy guys. Like, we are checking. We are checking. We are checking.
We are checking, Charles.
We are checking, Charles. We are checking. Yeah, so believe it or not, if my driving wasn't too shabby in one of the missions, this would have been either relatively close to PB or would have been PB. Now, unfortunately, taxis have messed this one up. Now, this mission for me is synonymous in my mind because about 2 years ago, maybe 3, I don't remember how long ago it was a few years ago now, I was gunning for we'll call it a decent time on the PS1 version of this game, and I came within one mission. I didn't get to the last mission. I got to the end of this, and I was on a 1:11 pace for console, which is extremely good. And I mean, like, extremely good. I had some of the best RNG I'd ever had, and I was on really good times. And then this taxi came out of nowhere, whacked me sideways and turned me side on, and I just lost it. And I was like, no, I can't play this game ever again.
Was it a crazy taxi?
It probably was,
we keep saying
yeah.
Taxi, and I just want to go, crazy taxi!
It just hit me and I went side on. As a result, I think it was... Because taxis had screwed me up in runs before with this game in particular. And overall, I don't know, I just got it stuck in my head that the taxis in this game were just out to get me, full stop. Because they just can't... There's no sense of direction. They just come out of random side streets and I'm like, oh, come on. And they just hit you. So if you're wondering as well how I know the maps and where to go on the missions, first time players, sorry, will be like, oh yeah, I don't know where I'm going, how do you know where you're going? It's a case of, after doing the mission so many times, you'll start to learn the street maps without actually needing to
it's a bit
like keep opening the big map.
It's a bit like Grand Theft Auto, isn't it? After a while, you learn these virtual... So I could probably drive around, at one point at least, the GTA 5 map better than I could around my own home city. I knew it. I just knew it that much better.
Yeah, because in real life, you're like, okay, I don't know this area. Where am I? But in GTA, it's like, yeah, I know exactly where I'm at. That county, there's that thing go over there, and you can get this, and you can get that. Yeah, so we're coming close to this. I would say if that time seemed to be the lead on screen right now, now this might still be pretty close, actually. Never say never. I don't think it'll be PB, but this will be damn close. Really damn close. I mean, it looks it. I don't know. I think my PB's a 113. Could somebody check that, actually, real quick?
Somebody get a phone.
PB is a 1 hour, 13 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
So we got a minute.
The last mission's about a minute and 15, minute 16.
It'll be close then, but maybe not quite.
But then there's load screens and there's friggin' taxis as well, like that.
We're getting that close to your PB at a marathon. That's good.
Very. For this game on console, extremely good. I'll happily take it as well. I did actually say, like, if this run went really well, then it will go quite under estimate, and if it went bad, it will still go under estimate. So You're welcome, Tech. We're pulling time back, I think. Yeah. You're welcome. Yes. Right. Infamous last mission in Driver. So the last mission in Driver is known for its impeccable difficulty and how hard it is. However, we're speedrunners. We have a trick up our sleeve, and here's what happens. So, the President's Run. The car's tough as nails, and there's supposed to be a way of getting to the other side of the map. You're supposed to get the President out of there. The cops are turned up to 110%, or 150, whatever you want to call it. Now what we're going to do is... Now, this might take a first attempt, or might take second. There you go.
There you go, nice.
Worked. So rather than actually driving to the end, we just go out of bounds. We get the cars to push us through the wall. And what was my PB again? 113 what?
113.20, I think.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Go, 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 go. Right, okay. I'll let you know when time is because it's come up pretty quick. Right, if
we'll
I can
sync
get the
again.
Come on. Frame rate would be nice.
Goodbye, Mr. President.
And time. Not bad.
Not
Close
bad.
to a PB. So I'll just say this as well. So one of the main things that the president says in that, he always says, "Nice driving, son." Someone in my chat, Digital Ducky, always says, "Nice drowning, son," because we drowned the car in the water. But yeah, it was a glitch that was found a good few years back, quite a few years ago, and obviously made this mission 10 times easier than it has to be. For those that don't know about the mission, like I said, you have to get across town. The car's tough, but it can't take much punishment. Not only that, the game transitions from day to night. You go through rain and sleet as well, and like I said, the police are turned up to 150%. And
it
makes
really
the
is
mission
a hateful mission. Yeah.
absolutely awful. I remember struggling so much as a kid. If I knew this when I was a kid, I would have had so much. I wouldn't have been pulling my hair out as much. But yeah, so that was Driver You Are the Wheelman. And I do believe we do have a few Geordies in here, possibly, or Newcastle people. We'll say that.
Why I, man?
So I won't keep this on for too long. I'm just hoping that the game will just hurry up and load. But Infogrames was made in... the Infogrames one was made in... So I'll open the credits there. So Infogrames was based in Newcastle. And what they ended up doing was they decided, as a bit of a little nice reward, I guess you'll see... remember your Jag?
That is a Jaguar, very nice.
And also, this is Newcastle. They actually ported, they made some of the city of Newcastle, including the time bridge, everything in this game. So every other car's a Jag as well. Can you remember what Jag exactly this is? XJ120, is it? XJ180 or something?
It's definitely part of the XJ series from the 70s. Just the main XJ run, I think. The one that they're still making to this day, or at least... I go to make. It's alright. It just looks a bit wonky from the side. It doesn't look anywhere near as long as it should from the side. But yeah, definitely a Jaguar XJ for sure.
But one of the main things I'll just quickly mention. So you have like the Welcome to Newcastle upon Tyne sign and everything, and you've got the bridge and so on. It's only very short, but you can use Game Shark cheats to do this. If you have the PC version, you beat it. You can actually race around Newcastle. There's no police or anything at all. But it would be interesting to see what happened if Newcastle was made in its entirety. For a driver game. I think that'll be quite impressive, to be fair. But the other thing is as well, real quick, I'm just going to kind of round this out here. Thank you very much for UKSG for having me. I've submitted this God knows how many times, I think, over the years. I think it's about 5 or 6 years, and the fact it's finally got in, I'm glad to finally show it off in person.
Persistence pays off.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You can pick this game up if you want to run it on emulator or console. Feel free to do so. Like I said, there's a PC version and the Game Boy Color version. Shout out goes to my Viper Racing community for being so good. The Driver community, Driver Madness, and the Speedrunning Discord. Great bunch of people. And like I said, check out Driver Syndicate, which is a fan-made game. Also, quick shout-outs, real quick as well, to Racing Marathon, which is coming up. Submissions are still open for it. My own Macraeathon, Blast from the Past, which is racing games set before 2000, and we allow anything. Feel free to check that over on Owenga, so I'm going to do a quick cheeky plug on that one. And last but not least, shout out goes out to Mike for co-commentating this, and my lovely partner on hosting, Broken Hyperlink, for doing hosting. So
You're very
thank
welcome.
you very much. And yeah, that's it.
Since when have you and Sken been dating then?
Sken or Blinky?
No, you said your lovely partner on hosting. I thought you meant Sken, but...
I mean, he loves me really anyway, he knows that. There you go. Hey! Anyhow, we'll wrap this up here, but yeah, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I'll pass it over to the host.
Well, thank you for that, Piper. As Scammy posted in chat, you were 44 seconds off your PB.
Very good.
I will happily take that.
That's so good for a marathon.
It's very good for a marathon, yeah. Don't go anywhere though, because we are coming up on our next few runs here, and I will be finishing my hosting shift here, and you're going to hear a very familiar voice. I believe he's still there.
Yeah, I'm moving about 10 foot over there, sure.
Same as what I did. But yes, please don't go anywhere. We will go into an intermission as we set up for our next run, which is going to be Like a Dragon Gaiden with Rebel Dragon. So stick around and enjoy the next run.